Funding for Love to Paint with Mimi was provided by Agnes Gund. Utrecht Art Supplies, celebrating 60 years. And by Kelly and Robert Day. Additional funding was provided by the following.
Hi, I'm Mimi. Today we're going to talk about some tools to get you painting, and then we're going to paint a beautiful country pond. So grab your brushes and let's get going. Ready, set, go. Here we go. Paint on paper. This is what creation is about. Woo, isn't that beautiful? This is the beach. Look at that green against that yellow. I mean, it just sings. We're dancing with this color. It's going across the page. I'm a shape maker. That's what artists do. They make shapes, they create color, they do all these incredible things. Oh, I love to paint. Hi, I'm Mimi. Welcome to today's show. Before we begin painting here in the studio, I'd like to show you the tools that I feel are essential to making a painting. We're in an art supply store, one of my favorite places in the whole world. And today we're going to keep it simple, pick out some wonderful art supplies for a fabulous painting. Let's go pick out what we need. Now here we are at the brushes. And first of all, we're going to talk about the watercolor brushes. We really only need 2 brushes to get started. One is a 2-inch flat that can be used for sweeping strokes, and it can be used sideways for smaller strokes. Then we have a 10 round. Now when you're buying a brush, it's very important that this round has a point. So we dip it in water. You can do this in the art store. Dip it in the water, and then you flip it. And you see it's come to a very nice point. So that means you can do a lot of detail work with that brush. And then we need a large brush like this for the acrylic. And we're checking, do you see how it has life? It goes back and forth. If you push this brush and it flops over on the side, you know it's not a very good brush. And then here we have a number 10, a square. And this brush we checked, does it have life? It certainly does have life. These are great brushes. This is all you need. You can make fabulous paintings with these brushes. Now we're going to pick out some acrylic colors. We're going to use the 3 primary colors, which are blue, red, and yellow. I'm using 2 blues, which is cerulean blue and ultramarine blue. I'm going to use 2 reds. One is alizarin crimson, and the other is cadmium red medium, and 1 yellow, cadmium yellow medium, and 2 browns, burnt sienna, and burnt umber, and of course we need white. And that completes our palette, and we can make some fabulous acrylic paintings with those colors. Here we are at the watercolor section, and we're going to pick exactly the same colors in watercolor that we had in acrylic. And I want to share with you something that I just absolutely love. It's my little traveling watercolor kit. I have a little bag to put things in and a wonderful little palette here. It's got all the colors. It's got a place for the water, place for the brush, place to mix. Sometimes I buy a larger brush and just cut off the end and pop it in there. Now we're going to close it up and put it in this little kit. There it goes. That goes in there. The brush goes in there. And of course, we need paper. So I get a nice watercolor paper and I slip that in there. Now, it's always nice to have a pencil to draw with, and I love a 6B pencil. So we're going to put the 6B pencil in there. And finally, of course, we have to have water. So we have a little water container, and we put that in there. And it's also good to have a little piece of tissue. And then we simply zip it up, and here we have a little studio to take anywhere in the world. Now we're going to talk about what do we put the paint on. So for the acrylics, I've got 3 different things you can put the paint on. You can actually put acrylic on just about any surface, wood, but we're going to talk about what we're going to put it on. One is an artist's canvas. You buy it like this. It's gessoed. It's all ready to pop in a frame. That's one way to go. Another way to go is gesso board. This is a lot smaller, thinner, less expensive, and you buy it like this all ready to go ahead and do your acrylic painting. And this is a really wonderful thing for people wanting to paint acrylic. This is called canvas paper, and it's cotton actually, and it's just like a canvas, only you don't have the board behind it. This is a very reasonable way if you want to paint acrylics. You finish, you've got another one right underneath, so that's a great way to go. Now we have to paint on watercolor paper. When you paint on watercolor, it's super important you use good paper. If you don't use good paper, what happens is if it's too thin, it will start to ripple. The effect will not be good, so you use a good watercolor paper. One of the watercolors is called a Strathmore, and Strathmore comes in a block, which means it's glued at the edges, and it also comes in individual sheets. And my very, very favorite is Arches watercolor. It comes in various sizes. This is a block. It's very tough watercolor. It can stand a lot of abuse. If you have to rub something out, it doesn't buckle very easily too. So the main thing is try different things. See what you like. These are merely suggestions. And now we're going to go back to the studio and do a wonderful painting. So today we're going to paint a beautiful little pond in the country. And for my brushes, I'm using the 2-inch flat, the 10-inch round, the fan brush, and my little rigger brush. And the colors are Ultramarine blue, Phthalo blue, Phthalo green, Alizarin crimson, Cadmium red medium, New Gamboge, Cadmium yellow, Raw Sienna, and Raw Umber. What we're going to do here is we're going to start off with this beautiful, beautiful color because I was up one morning early and it was kind of a yellow, wonderful yellowy, well, kind of yellow ochre actually. And you can make yellow ochre. This is why we don't need a whole lot of colors, although there are over 100 watercolors. But you can mix the yellow with the brown and get a really lovely color. So we're going to start up here. We're just kind of caressing the paper. Oh, it's so beautiful. Paint on paper. This is what creation is about in painting. And it takes courage to put that first stroke down, but if you just do it, if you look at a little child painting, little kid, you know how they just put the paint down. They stand in front of the paper and they dip their brush into the paint and they just put it on. And that's just the courage that we need, just to take, to just put it down. And I'm trying not to actually put completely wet every single bit of the paper. And I think I want to have it a little tiny bit darker up toward the top. We're going to go back in here. Now I'm pretty careful because I'm careful that my brush has less water than what's on here. Because if it doesn't have less water, I'm going to get one of those big bubbly bloop things. And now in the water, we're going to have the water of the pond below. So I think what I'm going to do is just to paint and put a little of this reflection of the sky in the water. And I'm thinking about where is the reflection actually going to be? And it will be probably about all over the water to start with. But I want to leave a little white in there too, because the white draws your attention there, and the watercolor is just so incredible. Because You know, nature has its own laws. And if you let the watercolor do what it wants to do sometimes, nature's laws are beautiful every single time.